Okay, welcome to part three now. Okay, cutting to the chase in this final part. Although you're always willing to give us a call. If there's any new happening, do give us a call. Now, just while we're doing this, do you wish people to make contact with you in any way, or is there
That's fine.
any? Okay, Rainetta, how
hmm
do people get hold of you?
They can contact me via email at rainjo, RAINJO 27 at yahoo.com, or they can look me up on Facebook at Rainette Jones.
Okay, good. And do you have any? Do you belong to any targeted individuals groups in the United States? Are there any groups like that available for people in the United States to get hold of?
Yes, there are several different ones. I'm a part of a lot of them online, but any particular group in a region, no. There's a lot of online groups, and I'm a part that those online groups I'm a part of.
Okay, good. Is there any sort of people anybody would talk to first or secondly or anything like that you could recommend for the United States?
Um, the reason why I prefer not to is because of the level of it's better to get to know people personally
Okay,
and make
fine.
a decision about them personally. I prefer not to recommend people with this kind of program going on.
Yeah.
I prefer not to recommend people. I prefer that if there are individuals that people would like to reach out to, they should do so on their own volition and make a decision based on their own premonition for safety reasons, because many people are coming back with a lot of horror stories about a lot of groups. And I prefer not to go that route and reference anyone to any group.
Okay, I think that's a very sensible precaution. Certainly in the UFO field, it's littered with an awful lot of disaster stories. And we're now beginning to realize a lot of the UFO field is really part of that. You know. Now, what have I said?
Huh?
What have I
No,
said to
it's
make you
because
burst out laughing? I'm saying something
no,
very serious
no,
here to help people, and
no,
you're
it was
bursting out
all
laughing.
no. I'm laughing because first of all, it's not declassified info, right? And then it's kind of like the general public thinks everyone is wacky that believes in these things, and then in the group there's a lot of like infiltrators in that group. You see what I'm saying?
Well, actually, I think you've got that dead wrong. I think in the group there's a lot of secret infiltrators from the
Oh, okay.
government. The
Um,
secret government infiltrators and the secret. Anyway,
one
that's
of
enough
them.
about that. We've got the basic message. Okay, well, let's get straight to the MRI
Okay.
scans and the X-rays. What is inside your head?
Okay. There are several different anomalies that's there. There are wires on the left side and on the right side. There are radiopaque objects, which could be because of trauma. Okay. There's a lot of white objects that are circles and that are long, elongated objects, okay, that show up in the MRIs. There are also a lot of black objects that are circular, and they're usually within the vicinity of the wire, like on the left side. There's this long wire from the base of my eye to the back of my head, and in front of my ear, there's a circular object.
Okay,
Okay?
now you mentioned your eye several times.
Yeah.
Now, one of the cases that we've had is where the eye has got like some kind of synthetic front to it, but that particular person can still see just fine through that. I mean, quite honestly, her MRIs were indicating the aqueous humor in her eyes
Oh,
wasn't
wow.
good enough to see with, but she was
Oh,
obviously able to see. So I noticed a little bit of opaqueness in one of your eyes. I mean, is that the case with yourself? Have you had
I haven't had
anything?
any surgeries on my eye, and I haven't gotten back One report I got 20/20 vision, and another report it was I think 18/20 or something like that. So I haven't gotten back any sort of report from the doctor stating that there was so much problems in my eye that I couldn't see. But I do have at times when there's a high electromagnetic current, sometimes in my left eye, my ability to see becomes impaired.
What happens when you can't see? What do you see with your eye that stops you from seeing optically?
Right. So what happens is it either gets blurred or literally there's like a black screen, and it happens on the left side in the exact place where I'm having these pains. Okay, so the MRIs are of the brain, of the spine, and the X-rays are of the brain and the pelvis. Okay.
Are there any other parts? Sorry.
Sorry.
Any other parts of your body, like knees or feet or something? Anything?
No, I haven't had those done yet. But I was advised to get chest, stomach, and pelvis area done in an MRI.
What about your teeth?
And I also had MRAs.
Ah, what's that?
MRAs, well, they look at the arteries in the brain. This one looked at the arteries in my brain to see if there were any blockages. Because part of the problem on my left side is that I have, the doctor said I have what's called, the neurologist, so I have what's called straightening. And she's wondering if there's something that's causing the arteries to close. And as a result, causes a strain on the arteries in my brain, which results in low blood going to the brain and a lack of oxygen going into the brain. So the MRAs looks at the arteries in the body. The MRIs looks at the organs and specifically specific areas of the organs.
This sounds like it's quite expensive.
Yeah, but health insurance covers it.
Okay, but the thing is that the doctors are taking this very seriously, obviously, and they are concerned with something there. I mean, there is something there. This isn't just some kind of natural anomaly in the head that's nothing happening here, move along type of a thing. There is definitely something there.
Yes, she did see several indications that pointed to malfunctions in my brain. For example, my medical insurance denied the MREs twice, and she literally had to do a peer-to-peer consultation with them in order to get clearance to get the MREs done. Okay.
Is that because of cost implications?
No, it wasn't a cost. It wasn't because of the cost. It was because the medical insurance stated that the MRIs was enough, but she had to do a peer-to-peer consultation because she said no. She indicated that there was a closing of the arteries and something was causing my arteries to close, causing a lot of pressure on the left side of my brain. And
now,
she said the only way...
Did they find... Sorry, did they find
report.
something out? Did they find anything?
They're mailing me the reports this week, and then I'm going in to get an evaluation next week.
Okay.
So we see here... Sorry?
Well, that's fine. Sorry, I just said okay. There is this delay. The idea, I think, is that when you have that, we can maybe do another part on this.
Oh, yeah. But I can give you the reports that I have now.
Good.
And the reports that I have now, which I should have brought with me, the reports, but I'll send it to you,
Listen,
okay?
if you want to go and get those reports, just get up and we can... Are they available to hand?
But would we be able to see it from, like, you won't be able to see it from, I'll just
yeah,
email it.
Yeah, we can always fix that in the edit. If you want to get up and get them, we'll just keep running. I'm not going to stop.
How about I just email them to you?
Yeah, you can email to me afterwards, but if you want to talk about them or read anything out from them, that would be very useful.
I think so. Yeah,
yeah
okay.
If you want to do that, yeah.
Yeah,
don't worry, I mean...
Hi, I'm back.
Okay, go ahead, keep reading.
Okay, no problem. So this is one file of medical reports. and this is the other file of the medical reports. Okay? So,
Yeah.
okay. Okay, so these are the actual reports. Okay.
Could you read out what those are?
Okay, these are the actual reports. And the first one is the MRI of the cervical spine. Okay. And I'll just read to you the findings. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay, so the findings is what they actually found. Okay? So it's based in three parts. It's based upon my assessment, the diagnostic measures that they use, the equipment that they use, the technique, and then the actual findings. Okay? Okay, so the MRI of the cervical spine, it says there is straightening of the cervical lordosis. I don't know if they're going to understand this medical language. So let me just try to
From the
explain
point
it.
of view of a basis, we want to keep it as technical as possible. Okay,
Oh, good.
most people will not understand it, but people who are actually looking at this must need the actual information as far as we can get it.
Oh, great. Oh,
So
great.
be
And
as
then they're
technical as you have to be.
okay, great. That's good. And then the professionals that are looking at this,
Yeah.
you know, that's good because the professionals who are looking at this will know that this is a professional report.
Okay,
Okay,
well,
so
keep it as technical as possible. Give us the whole 9 yards, okay?
great. So let me start from the top. Okay, so it says MRI of the surgical spine. The study was performed in the sagittal and the axial plane. Sagittal images were obtained, T1, and it's basically describing the methods that they used. The clinical information, which was my information that I gave, was intermittent paresthesias, which is paralysis, visual disturbance. So we're looking at, they looked at my spine in order to calculate what was causing these problems with my eye. So their findings indicated there is straightening of cervical lordosis, a mild dextrocurvature of the cervical spine is seen. A mild dextrocurvature of the cervical spine is seen. No abnormal marrow signal is seen. No abnormal enhancement is seen in the cervical vertebral bodies. The cervical spine cord is normal in configuration and signal intensity. No abnormal enhancement is seen in the cervical spine cord. Let's see. The cerebellar tonsils are slightly low, which they say is within normal limits. Now they say C2, C3, C3, C4 discs in the spine. That's unremarkable. They see a small posterior central bulging annulus located within an annular tear is seen between C4 and C5 level. There's a tear between C4 and C5. A small
Now, I have to say this is, I've heard this many times.
Okay.
That's basically C4 is the top of the neck.
Right.
Above the shoulders. Okay.
It is. It is.
Is this on the left, on your left side or your right side?
The tear?
Yeah.
Well, this is the tear is in the spine.
Yeah, but is there a side where it's...
So we have the spine that kind of looks like a S.
Yeah.
Right? So the tear is here. So I wouldn't say it was here or here. It looks like it's more like here.
Okay.
Right? So you know the spinal cord, it breaks apart like from, what is it? The discs.
Yeah.
Right? But within the disc, the tear is in the middle. So I can't say left or right.
Okay, fine.
Right? Okay. And then it says here a small posterior central bulging. So it's in the center. Is seen in C5, C6 level. Right? Then we have C6, C7. This is unremarkable. And then they said the visualized adjacent paravertebral soft tissue is unremarkable. So the impression says there's a straightening of the cervical lordosis, mild dextrocurvature of the spine, and small posterior central bulging annulus is seen, C4, C5, C5, C6. Then we look at the thoracic spine, I don't know how you pronounce it in Britain, with and without contrast. And this is neuro. So MRI, thoracic spine, with and without contrast, neuro. Slightly lobulated approximately 1.3 centimeters times 1.1 centimeter cyst is identified in the upper pole of the right kidney. Okay, and it says a normal thoracic kyphosis is seen. The thoracic intervertebral disc spaces are well maintained. No abnormal marrow signal. No aggressive osseous lesion is seen. The thoracic spine cord is normal. No abnormal enhancement. No disc herniation or spinal stenosis. The visualized adjacent paravertebral soft tissue is unremarkable. So the impression, unremarkable MRI of the thoracic spine, but there are cysts in the right kidney, right? Then we get to MRI pelvis, okay? History MRI clearance, possible metal in pelvis 1. The technique, single frontal radiograph of the pelvis, and then the impression revealed minimal amount of metallic debris are projecting over the soft tissue in the right proximal femur, lesser tuberosity, and possible right superior pubic ramus. Remember I told you about that? Right? And then they said these are not contraindication of the MRI images, meaning the MRI images are showing what their findings are, what their impression is indicating. They said soft tissue otherwise unremarkable, bilateral hip joints are remarkable. They said there is a bone island in the right femoral head, no acute fracture or dislocation. So there's a bone island and there's metallic debris in the pelvis, right? Now, the problem with the MRIs of the brain is that I discovered, and I don't want to review this now because I have a reevaluation coming up, okay? I was given the doctor was given, the wrong brain images. She was given images of a normal brain, which was not my brain, okay? And I have the writings to prove that from the diagnostic center. So I have to go back in for a re-evaluation of my MRI. So I'm going to hold that off, okay, until we do another one. So that's the brain.
I wouldn't be surprised if your re-evaluation is somehow problematic.
Well, not really, because I have in writing that medical policy was breached. Okay, and somehow she ended up getting images that were supposedly of my brain, but they were not my brain. Okay, so I have this in writing. I don't want to go into the analysis yet, but I do know that the preliminary analysis is wrong because she received the wrong images.
When did that happen?
When did it happen? It happened on, this is the 15th. So it would be about 7 days, about a couple days later. Not 7 days, but a couple days after. This was done on the 15th.
Sorry, what date is this again? When did you physically
January
have this
15th.
Sorry?
January 15,
okay.
15 of this year. Yeah. So that's the report. The brain has to be done over because the images that are received of the brain, I don't mind showing you. Okay. These are the images.
Yeah, okay.
That the doctor received of supposedly my brain. The problem is, these are not the images of my brain.
Well, they certainly don't look like anything I've seen from you in those previous...
They're not the same brain.
Yeah, a different shape, head's different. I mean, it's different altogether. You know.
Oh, God.
A jackass on a charging horse could see that those are not you. You know. I mean, it doesn't take a bloody brain surgeon to figure that one out, literally.
No, it literally took a neurosurgeon. It literally, because it's not the same head, Miles. Miles, look. Okay, where is it?
It looks like a...
And she made a diagnosis based upon this brain. This may not even be a woman. This looks like a child.
Yeah.
Okay, look. And these
Well,
images are
I
what
think
normal
that
brain
those pictures are
MRI
actually good to hold on to because that shows a completely normal brain. So that it's interesting to compare that. Are you able to show? Are you able to send those, or are they just on the paper?
This is what I'm going to do next week
No, but are
because I
you
have
able to
another
send those to
assessment.
me now?
Huh?
Are those only available on the paper? Can you
Oh, these
send
are
those
only available on
copies?
the paper. Yeah, this is what she printed out from her computer.
But she can't. You can't send those to me. You
Oh,
don't have
these
electronic
no,
copies of
because
those.
no, this is what she printed out on her. Oh, sorry. This medical date is the 27th,
Yeah.
okay? And this was printed out from her computer. So it wasn't emailed to me. But the ones that I have are on, I can email to you. This I have to scan and send it to you. So you can do a comparative analysis.
Yeah, if you're able to do that, that'd be a big thing. Obviously, they're going to be quite low resolution, but I think it gets the message across. Okay.
Yeah, no problem. But if you look at this brain, okay, hope you can see it.
It's
This is
clean. It's
what
nothing in there
there's
apart from the
nothing in there.
brain. There's a brain in
But
there. That's normal. There's
right,
nothing
this is
else.
what exactly. This is what a normal and all 16 images. This is what a normal brain MRI is
Now there are
supposed to
two
look
little
like.
white spots on those brains. I mean, just because there's white spots and things doesn't mean they're alien implants or they're secret government implants.
No, 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 because this is not these are white, these indications are normal. It's when you begin to see the white spots in the brain tissue, the white spots, white or black. Okay, so it's not just white. There's white, black, and then there's gray. It's when it's in the brain tissue. Okay, not
Yeah.
necessarily. If you look carefully at these white spots, what you're seeing here is bone. The white
Yeah.
spots is indicative of the bone. Look,
Yeah.
yeah, that's the cranium, the actual bone structure that houses the brain, right? So, and then you see here around the eye, the other
Yeah.
white
Those are the
spot.
eye sockets. Yeah.
Exactly, exactly. So this is normal. This is normal.
Yeah.
When it becomes a problem is when you see the white spots in the brain tissue.
Can you describe these elements which are not normal in your scans?
Sure, sure. I can definitely do that. One of them looks like a long wire. Wire. Okay? It
Yes.
shows up. It shows up. It has a white head and a hooked tail. Okay? And
Yeah.
it's from here to here. It looks like a regular wire. Okay? And that's
Yes.
on the left side. On the right side, there's another one and it's hooked like this that goes into the brain tissue and it's on the right side. Okay? There are white spots. Now, some of the white spots could be indicative of some sort of head injury or some sort of trauma. Okay? White spots could be foreign objects or trauma.
Is that
Okay?
essentially scar tissue?
Exactly. It could be scar tissue, but when you compare my brain, for example, one of the things the doctors kept saying to me is, your symptoms is indicative of multiple sclerosis. I told the doctor I don't have multiple sclerosis because I knew the problem was implants, but I did not relate that to the doctor.
Yeah.
Okay? So I did not want to take on myself a neurological disease that I know to be inaccurate. I knew the problem was coming from implants. So
Because then they would maybe give you treatments which would be inappropriate.
inappropriate, right? So I needed to get one of the things I did is one of the things that I advise victims to do is you have to do your homework. Victims are a little bit too victimized in order to do their homework. They want
This
the
is very
doctors.
important. It's one thing to be a victim, It's another thing to play victim.
And
Don't
yes,
play the victim.
don't play the victim, okay? Because had I played the victim, they would have told me this child's brain, and it looks like a little boy, is mine. This is not my brain.
I think somebody's having a laugh, as we say.
Exactly, right? So I did my homework because one of the things they said was it's indicative of multiple sclerosis. I listened respectfully to what the doctor said. When I left his office, I said, no, it is not multiple sclerosis. So when I got back my images, what I did was a comparative analysis. I took my images and I compared them to images of someone with preliminary, secondary, and tertiary stages of multiple sclerosis. They didn't match. I looked
Thank
at
God.
Alzheimer's.
Yeah,
They didn't
in many
match.
respects, that's a positive thing.
Right. Yeah. Multiple sclerosis is horrible.
Yeah.
I looked at Alzheimer's. They didn't match. I looked at different neurological disorders. They did not match. I looked at parasites, brain parasites, body parasites. They didn't match. I looked at brain implantees, and they matched. The
Okay.
only brain.
What
The
does
only,
this mean to you? What's happening?
right.
Now, I have to
So,
say that Kieran is talking about being some kind of super soldier in other dimensions. There are copies of him in other dimensions. He's
right.
been told you are military property, and as if there's copy versions of him elsewhere. So, I mean, what do you feel this does apart from having this? I mean, can you read people's minds? Can you teleport to far different planets? I mean, what do these things do for you, or do they do anything? What happens?
Well, I think before they were activated in 2012, because I strongly believe they were activated in 2012. Before they were activated in 2012, I think it could have just been for monitoring and orchestrating outcomes. Okay? Because
What do you
that's
mean
what
by
I
that?
began to
Or
realize.
orchestrating outcomes?
Orchestrating outcomes. That's a major part of it. So I want the public to understand that okay, for example, you go to college and the expected outcome is you graduate, right? You go to college, okay, you're on a path, and the end result is you graduate, right? Part of this program works to create an outcome they want, not an outcome you want. Okay? So that's what I meant when I said it was put into me to create outcomes for them. Okay? So you
Now,
orchestrate, because part of it is they can read your thoughts.
well, you are telling me this. I'm going to publicize this. Do you think part of that outcome that they want is for us to know?
The public?
Yeah.
No. No. Because, again, a part of this program is discrediting. You understand? A major component of this program is to discredit. Okay,
In
they
other words, make
discredit.
you look like a wacko.
Yes, it basically make you look like a nut job.
Yeah.
And part of my discrediting was to put me in a nut house in the shelter system, destroy my chances at college, okay, because I did not know these things were real. My ignorance is what led to my downfall before I woke up.
Okay.
Okay? So part of this program revolves around secrecy, discrediting, using the media to portray you in a negative manner.
Yes.
Okay? Using your community to portray you in a negative manner. Okay? And trying to use all their powers to sabotage whatever you do. Okay? So
Yeah.
for me, in hindsight, when I look back, because I didn't just do the iPod and the Kindle, I also invented a kind of women's hosiery.
Yeah.
Yeah, women's hosiery. So I invented a new kind of women's hosiery, and that as well they sabotaged. Okay, so prior to me waking up, what they did is they monitored, they infiltrated your communities. Okay, whatever, whether it's business, it's school, it's friendships, it's whatever, they infiltrated it and they sabotaged it.
Now, I'm going to say this is going to be very unkind. Maybe
No.
the one way that they can discredit you is to get you to say that you came up with the Kindle and the iPod,
Mhm.
and then they're going to say, "Oh, you're just delusional. Of course you didn't do that. You know, Apple did that, and you're just a wannabe, and you're just your head case." What do you say to that?
I say number one, Apple does not own the patent to the iPod. Number one, Apple went a lawsuit with Birth.com to defend the iPod, and in that court case, Apple cited a British engineer by the name of Kane Kramer and said he invented the iPod. The same Steve Jobs also went on record and said the technology for the iPod did not exist. So my question is, if Kane Kramer, this is in the Ninth Circuit Court's court document in the United States Supreme Court, I'm telling you decisions from the US Supreme Court that was handed down. Apple defeated Birth.com by saying they got the iPod technology from Kane Kramer in the UK. Steve Jobs is also on record saying that the technology for the iPod did not exist prior to 2001. Now, here's my question. If we know for a fact, and we know for a fact, Apple does not own the patent to the iPod because they did not invent it. If they got the technology from Kane Kramer, like they said, how are they on record saying the technology did not exist? When I introduced it to David Chesky, who knew Steve Jobs, and I can prove this, when I introduced it to David Chesky, who knew Steve Jobs, David Chesky said, my technology did not exist. Steve Jobs said, my technology did not exist. Tony Fadell, who worked on the iPod, and Rubenstein, who worked on the iPod, are all on record saying the technology for the iPod did not exist. Number two, the iPod and the Kindle was not invented 6 years apart. I am the only person alive who is saying the iPod and the Kindle were invented together, and I can prove it that they were invented together. I invented the iPod and the Kindle together, and I told David Chesky about both of them at the same time. Records, Apple records, this is fact, and you can fact check this. The engineers at Apple, after Apple brought my iPod to market, Apple engineers left Apple, started Lab 126 for Amazon, and Amazon brought the Kindle to market. So we see that the iPod and the Kindle came out of where? One place. Because the technology was given to, both of them was given to one man. And that one man, I can prove this in emails and in public records that he knew Steve Jobs. Okay?
Okay.
Okay.
Good. Well, that's good. Well, I mean, when you get all fired up a bit, you're really quite good.
No, it's the truth.
Yeah, that's good.
You know, when you're dealing with truth, when you're dealing with facts, you get a little bit, you're excited, sorry. Because I've been discredited for so long, and I have to fight. I've been discredited, humiliated, dragged through the mud. I've been called every name in the book, but I tell them, the fact is this: Apple does not own the patents to the iPod. This is a fact. This is court record.
We're having a conversation here
Yes.
about implants inside your body and in your brain
Right.
and other parts of your body.
Mm.
And in the same sentence, we're talking Amazon and Apple. Do you think there's any connection there?
Yes.
And
Yes.
what is that connection?
Well, one of the things the public does not understand is that these tech companies have former police officers that work for them, former intelligence agents that work for them. For example, Apple has their own police that go around breaking into people's homes. Okay, this is on record. This is official record. Okay, they're called the Apple. Their nickname is the Apple Gestapo or Apple Nazis, but their official name is Apple's Worldwide Loyalty Team.
Oh, that
Okay?
sounds very nice.
It's horrible. They go out. They have moles everywhere, spies everywhere, and basically what they do is they look for great ideas. Okay, and they either do industrial espionage to get it. These things exist. This is real. America loses hundreds of billions of dollars a year for industrial espionage. Okay, these things are facts. They conduct industrial
You're saying
espionage.
this is a fact because we're obviously making an allegation against that very team. They may pay us a visit.
Oh no. This is nothing new. I'm already on record with it, and I already put on record. If I am lying, I put on record to Apple and to Amazon. If I am lying, sue me. You understand? So I am making the allegations, you're not. And I'm on record telling Apple and telling Amazon, if I am lying, sue me. They haven't. They have not. Why? Because they cannot defend what is not theirs.
Now, what about these implants?
The relationship between...
No, yeah, in you.
Right.
Where do you think this is leading us? We're now on the 20-minute mark to the end.
Oh,
so,
okay. Well, in short, these implants can be used for many reasons. I personally think that once I went to him, somewhere along the line I was implanted, whether through my doctors, and I strongly believe it could be through my doctors, okay, because I have another dental implant here that's suspicious. And then when I called back my dentist and I asked him, I said, could you tell me when you did this implant? His office said, we never did it. So I have my dentist saying he never performed a dental operation on me, which I know he did. He was my only dentist for many years.
do you have any images of that implant?
Yes, I do. Can you see this? I have to just block off the
Yeah.
names.
Yeah.
Okay?
Okay, if you just talk about those,
It's the
yeah.
opaque one. Do you
Which
see
is the one I'm
white?
concerned, the one you're showing now?
Can you see the white opaque one?
Yeah, that's huge.
Right. Let me find hold on. Let me just find the okay. Hold on, let me just close this out because I'm trying to cover like certain information. Okay, this one. This one. That one?
Okay.
You see that one? And it goes
Yes.
all the way up into my gum. Can you see it?
Yeah. I've
And
been
I called
cautioned,
him back
can't try and
about
have those
this.
removed.
Yeah, I have to. I called him back about this and he said he never performed it. Sorry?
I would be careful about taking those out.
Okay. So you're an electrical engineer.
Well, yes, but I'm concerned that a very good friend, a very close person I have a lot of respect for, went through a procedure for that. I'm not saying it's that particular same implant. There was an implant in her jaw, in her teeth, and she had 2 operations over 6 months. And the area where the implant was removed has gone bad, very badly for her.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
many years later. You don't know what these things are connecting to, especially in the virtual domain. What you take out in our crystallized 3D world,
Yes.
there could be other stuff there in another domain, I really do think that we should look at this very carefully and find out what the hell they are first. And when we
Yes,
absolutely know what they are, then we can adopt a strategy.
right. And
At the
I would
moment you're
love
living and you're walking about, you're pretty healthy. I'd keep, just be careful about taking that stuff out. That's only my personal view.
there's also another X-ray in my throat. There's a here, not the actual throat. It's here that looks like an ear. Okay, it's shaped like an ear, and it's here, and it's huge, and it's here. You can see it in the X-ray. So when I send you these images, you'll be able to see it. Okay, the first place I would like to start on the positivity dimension, because this is so riddled with negativity. It's bombarded invisibly and physically with just
And fear.
negativity. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to let the victims of this know that what we're trying to do, and I advise them to contact me. What we're trying to do is we're trying to petition an international tribunal. Okay, and we want as many numbers as possible to petition an international tribunal, because the laws on the books are clear. You cannot implant someone if you're not a medical doctor. You cannot do experimentation on a person without written consent and knowledge of what will happen to them when you implant these things. Doctors cannot implant a person or subject, these are the laws, subject a person to any kind of experimentation that they themselves would not subject themselves to. The laws are clear. You cannot put someone on television without their written consent, without a contract, and without paying them. You cannot monetize their image in any way without a contract, without consent, and without payment. These are the laws. Okay? In the United States, we have the NDAA and we have the Patriot Act. The problem with the NDAA, parts of it, and the Patriot Act, parts of it, is that they are in violation of international law. When domestic law violates human rights, international law has precedence over that domestic law.
I think we've got a problem is that there's quite a few people around who feel international law isn't worth the paper it's written on.
They can feel what they want, but what we go by is what is written. Okay? So even though the laws are not enforced, we have to enforce these laws. Just the same as they enforce the NDAA, they enforce the Patriot Act, or parts of it. We have to work together to enforce these laws. So on a positive paradigm shift, because we have to shift this, what needs to be done is we have to petition an international tribunal, and this is something that we want to work on. Petitioning an international tribunal, and the end goal is to overwhelm them with the evidence that they have to say this is happening. Okay? So
have you been talking with Kieran about this?
Sorry?
Have you been discussing this with Kieran? Because Kieran has got so close to having it publicised in the UK on mainstream Fleet Street, national newspapers, that they all get a phone call and then nobody goes near it.
Yeah. This is part of the discrediting campaign. You see what I'm saying? So what we're trying to do is we're trying to petition the international courts in order to get this to be recognized. We want to put them in a position that says we overwhelm them with the millions of people this has happened to, whether they believe in extraterrestrials or they believe it's done by human terrestrials, because some humans are kind of wacky. We want the international courts to recognize this is a problem. Okay, the Nazis were hanged for this. why are we here again in 2016 when you hanged the Nazis for these things and we had Nuremberg? Okay, so we can't just say, you know, the laws are on the book and it's worthless. We have the laws, so we have to use it.
Yeah.
So that's the other thing. On a personal note, my advice to those who are going through this, one of the first things when I realized, and it was brought to my attention when I went to work at the UN that they were doing this to me. They were, you know, I was told when I got to the UN, hey, you're on international television, haha, look at what we did to you. My first reaction was to hide. I mean, I locked myself up in the house for like months because I was so shocked. And my advice to victims, when you realize, don't go into shock. Keep a normal routine.
Yes.
Okay? Yes. Try your best to keep a normal routine. Examine your relationships. Do not begin to disclose this with your immediate family because you don't know if they're playing a role, if they've been infiltrated.
That is very true.
Right.
And
so
even,
don't disclose
as you mentioned
this
yourself,
to your friends.
are you actually part of that family to start with?
Exactly. Exactly. And part of it is to infiltrate your family. Two of the tactics they use is pedophilia. They lie and they say you're a pedophile. Okay, or they lie and they say you're a criminal. Okay, these are the two tactics they use. So they label you a pedophile or they label you some sort of criminal like a thief or something like that. Okay, so once they know how it's done, they know how to handle it. Do not speak to your immediate circle about these things. Okay, because you want to maintain a good relationship as best as you can with your family and your friends. Okay, but examine those around you to see if they have been infiltrated. If you recognize that your close family and your friends have been infiltrated, I advise you to reach out to groups. Keep some sort of social network. It's imperative that you keep some sort of social network, okay, as a foundation. I advise at least 20 people in a network who know where you are, what's going on with you. Let them know that your spirits are up, okay, you're mentally okay, because that's another thing they try to do. They try to wear you down mentally or drive you insane with this technology, okay? The third thing I advise is have a written power of attorney, okay? And one of the things in my research I came to discover was that someone took a power of attorney over me. So my advice is have a written power of attorney revocation. Okay, you can get a template online and you revoke all powers of attorney over your life, your health, and your finances. Then you have a power of attorney. Make sure you serve it to your family. Because part of this is that they infiltrate the family to make you look like you're mentally insane so the family could send you into the psychiatric institutions.
Yeah.
Okay?
Absolutely,
and
yeah. This is really very good advice you're giving. Very good advice.
And some of the things they do is they pay the family members. You may not know, but they may pay the family members or friends, right, to write a power of attorney illegally, taking away your life, your health, and your finances, and turning it over to these criminal networks. So it's important that you serve respectfully your family a power of attorney. And in that power of attorney, you must declare that you are of sound mind. You must write it, that you are of sound mind and able to make decisions over your life, your health, and your finances. Okay? And all those powers belong to you. You must also state that anyone who violates it, you will use the law to prosecute them. Okay? This is a lifesaver because I'm getting so many victims who's been taken against their will into the psychiatric institutions because someone contacted their family, okay, to put them into the psychiatric institutions. Okay? If you find yourself in the psychiatric institution, it is imperative that you know your state, the state you live in, patient bill of rights. Okay? Most people don't know there are two medical laws. There is a personal medical law of which you have rights. There's the psychiatric law where the state owns you. Okay?
Yeah.
I am not telling you this as someone who doesn't know. They've tried it on me. Okay? They tried to use it on me. And thank God I knew the law. And I said to them, you are in violation of number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Okay? And the psychiatrist had to relate to me that he was in fact breaking the law. And they used police officers to do it. So it is imperative that the victims know there are two laws governing medicine. One where you have rights, one where the state has rights over you. Once you enter into a psychiatric institution, the state has all rights over you. They tried to use it to me. I disannul verbally, I told them, I disannul all psychiatric laws because this is illegal. And they had to let me go. Okay? So that's some of the things that I wanted to do. On a personal level, very quickly, on a personal level, what I'm working on now, even though I'm very limited in what I can do, I'm working on two jobs plans. One in the arts industry, because many people are like, what else are you doing? Okay? And even though I'm very limited because of the pain and cognitive impairments, I just completed, because I do research, excuse me, I just completed one project in the arts and another one for the youth. And it's about employment and industry and stuff like that. And I also designed some stuff. So my advice is, on a personal level, try to do what you love and keep doing what you love. Don't hide, don't cower, don't be afraid. If you like to go out and exercise, go out and exercise, but be aware of your environment. Okay? Have cameras on you. Have a camera on you at all times. When you walk into a building, because some people get organized harassment. When you walk into a building, make sure you have a camera and you turn it on.
Yes.
Okay?
Yeah. Well, in the last couple of minutes, certainly I've advised people that when they're followed by a car,
Yeah.
really slow down until it stops and just go and get a picture of them.
Get a picture and immediately post it online.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you go into a place like a hospital, make sure you have your camera recording when you're speaking to what, because 9 times out of 10, your whole life is covered and they've infiltrated your whole life.
Yes.
So make sure you have cameras on with you at all times.
Yeah.
And if you find yourself in a contradictory situation, post it online.
Okay. Well, that's fighting talk, giving courage to victims. As it gets to say, a victim doesn't mean you have to play the victim.
Yeah.
Fight back. Stand up for your rights
Something.
and kick ass.
Something.
And know the
Something.
law.
Sorry?
And know your rights and know the law if you can.
Yeah. They hate the truth.
Yes.
They hate the truth and they hate the law.
And there are a number of people in the basis thing who, because of their knowledge of the law, are free today because they were going to lose their kids and a few other things, but we won't go into those details. This has been amazing. It's 1st of March 2016. We look forward to seeing you again when you get the further results from your MRI scans, and just check that it's the same brain, you know.
MRIs and MRI.
Yeah, MRI. Yeah. Well, thank you very much. Really appreciate this. This is the Basis Project Witness Statement, TI, Target Individual Witness Statement Series.
Yes.
Thank you. You have courage, and bless you. Thank you.
Same here, Miles. Have a good one. Good.